Raise your hand if you consider yourself an environmentalist. Now raise your hand if you have friends or family members who are anti-environmentalism. Finally, raise your hand if you've ever argued with these friends or family members about environmentalism. If you look around, you can see that this is a shared experience. Many environmentalists argue with anti-environmentalists about the importance of sustainability or the existence of climate change. These arguments often lead to misinformation or miscommunication between people and can limit the amount of sustainable projects that are being implemented. For environmentalists, the words environmentalism and sustainability often refer to the movement towards protecting local environments, the climate, and our natural world. But for anti-environmentalists, these same words can evoke fear of government policies infiltrating everyday life. This leads us to the ongoing question about the future of sustainability. How do environmentalists convince anti-environmentalists to support sustainability before we face irreversible planetary doom? The answer to this seemingly impossible question came to me in my senior year of high school. I was working on a project for the Midwest Connect, which was a proposed passenger rail system that would run from Chicago through Indiana and Ohio. For my project, I planned to survey the residents of downtown Fort Wayne, Indiana, to gauge community support for the project. Not only would the Midwest Connect reduce the number of cars on the road, but it would also eliminate the need for the highway expansion project in Indiana. When I first began my surveys, I would start by knocking on a door, explaining how the Midwest Connect would reduce carbon dioxide emissions, and ask if people were interested in taking a survey about their support for the project. Unfortunately, most people turned me away immediately. After so many failed attempts at collecting data, I started reflecting on where my surveys went wrong. I thought about the people I was surveying and the people of Fort Wayne. Many people are anti-environmentalist, and not many sustainable projects are being implemented overall. But more importantly, I found that a large number of people in downtown Fort Wayne fell below the poverty line, some neighborhoods even up to 50%. I also found that the average annual household income and education level were far below the national average in much of Fort Wayne. This led me to ask myself a new question: why should they care? I was raised on environmentalism, but I also never faced any severe life-changing struggles like poverty. But if someone could not afford to feed themselves tomorrow, why should they care about the fate of the earth in 100 years? The Midwest Connect had many benefits outside of just environmental ones, but I never mentioned them in my original surveys. My project was supposed to be focused on sustainability, and I equated that with meaning only about the natural world. In reality, the Midwest Connect directly benefited the people I was surveying by providing accessible and affordable transportation to cities like Chicago and Columbus. When I began reframing the project and explaining the Midwest Connect in this way, people wanted to engage with my surveys. People told me they supported the Midwest Connect because they were disabled, they had bad vision, or they were unable to renew their driver's license. One woman told me her family was too large and she could not fit all of her kids in one car, so the Midwest Connect would allow them to travel long distances as a family. Other people told me they were elderly and it was difficult to drive, or they simply were unable to afford a reliable car or gas to get to nearby cities. My final survey results showed that 93% of people in downtown Fort Wayne supported the Midwest Connect. Some people still do not support the project, such as one man who told me that he had worked on the construction of the original railroad and the working conditions were too dangerous. But I still took value in this perspective. 2 years after my survey, the federal grant was approved to begin construction on the Midwest Connect, and the project is currently in phase 1. Ultimately, I had reframed environmentalism. I saw past the idea that environmentalism and sustainability referred only to the natural world. Instead, I began to see the environment in a new way, in the real world, one that was hopeful, holistic, and realistic. Many environmentalists view a perfect natural world as the ultimate goal, while underestimating how the lives of people and the needs of communities are intertwined. Even though the Midwest Connect was advertised as an environmental-based project, I made a point to hear the voices and the needs of the community, a community who needed support with accessible and affordable transportation to Chicago and farmers who needed their land protected from highway expansion. This led to 93% of a mostly anti-environmentalist community supporting an environmentalist project. Although I overlooked it in my original surveys, the Midwest Connect is a form of multidimensional sustainability, or a solution to larger social and economic problems in addition to environmental ones. Even if we don't realize it, most environmentalist projects fall within multidimensional sustainability. Even projects that do not have support of the majority of the community have the ability to be reframed in a new way. Rather than focusing only on the needs of the natural world, the needs of all community members should be more thoughtfully considered and incorporated when seeking community support for a project. My Midwest Connect survey gave me new hope for the future of sustainability in an increasingly polarized world. By understanding why the people of Fort Wayne did not support the Midwest Connect, I was able to gain a deeper understanding about environmentalism and about community itself. Overall, if the goal of sustainability is to give people a happier and healthier life, the needs of those who do not support environmentalism cannot be overlooked. By recognizing that environmentalism is more than just the natural world, we can gain community support and rally for the implementation of more projects. If we truly want to save the world, we have to start by reframing environmentalism, recognizing the needs of others, and saving our own communities first. Thank you.